Hello and welcome, my Aquarius collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars, and Venus signs. Welcome to your Quickie sex life read for September 2019. Quickie meaning that we're only doing 5 cards. This is not going to be an hour and a half reading. I know, you know, the Aquarians, I'm watching the stats, and the Aquarian ones, you guys really watch a lot. So thank you so much for my subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. If you look at the comments on there, I pretty much reply to all of them. I mean, even people are like, oh, thank you. I'm like, no, thank you. So, you know, I'm a communicator, soul number 3, right, in numerology. So we're only doing 5 cards, 2 from the Caroline Mace, MYSS Mace archetype deck, 1 for you, my Aquas, and 1 for another, not necessarily your significant other, but someone that you're either want to have sex with, are having sex with, did have sex with, or, you know, influences your sexuality in some way. Remember, you know, sex life isn't all about the physical act, right? It's about the internal stuff too. And on the path of true love, which is my focus, you know, the spiritual healing hero's journey path, focused, seen through the lens of relationships, as I'm looking at my 2 older sons being ridiculous while I'm working. They don't get fed for another hour. Good. You go eat bits. Motherhood. So then we'll do 1 card from the healing, the Doreen Virtue Healing with the Angels Oracle, Daughters of the Moon Tarot, Fiona Morgan, just 1, and then just 1 of the Chuck Spezzano Love Pack. Good. So let's dive in. The blessing was lovely. I'm working with Athena as my goddess who sits in the throne of Aquarius, but sometimes she switches out with Heracles and the 12 labors of Heracles. Right, 12 things to surrender or bow to, metaphorically speaking. So let's have a look-see-do-see, shall we? Here we go. My collective pantheon of angels, gods, and masters. Please, 1 card for the dominant archetype, the soul power being alchemized in this Aquarius collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars, and Venus signs in their sex lives. For September 2019, please, what is the dominant archetype in play? The mentor. I believe this has come up in one of the previous reads. I don't remember which one because I'm wicked nonlinear to begin with nowadays. The more in the now you are, right, the more past and future just become very amorphous, right? To be here now. That's where all the guidance and grace is right here in the now, right? So I will read that, the mentor, but you know, Aquarians, you're so friendly, you're so egalitarian, you're so humanitarian that have you taken somebody, look at the picture, under your wing. Literally, it's drawn in the artwork of this card. I love this deck. It's a thick deck. D-E-C-K, just to clarify. Yeah, all of these readings that I'm doing with sex as a topic, although none of them have been vulgar, I'm a little shocked by that. I make them age restricted just to, you know, clear that the boundary is there, right? At least for drawing the circle and marking lines, right? That's me, by the way. So my collective pantheon of angels, gods, and masters, please, 1 card for the other in this Aquarian Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars, and Venus signs in their sex life. What's going on there? What's their dominant archetype? Soul power being alchemized from lead to gold in September 2019. Going on here, the athlete, woof. You know, athlete need not be so literal, right? It does not have to be into sports. It's a soul power, so you can be a mother or a father with an athletic ability, right? Right? It's like an athlete father, athlete mother. You might be the mother or father of an athlete. That's just an example. But mentor and athlete, although that has a very clear, literal connection there, I will read those once the other 3 cards are out before I just go, you know, picking through the quantum collective for y'all. My angels, please, a piece of your angelic guidance and grace for this Aquarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars, Venus sign in their sex life. With this athlete, this mentor with this athlete, please, a clue, a tip, a hint for their sex life. September 2019. Well, divine guidance, you got that going on, and that makes sense with The mentor, because how often is the mentor giving guidance? Now there is the guide archetype, which is different. I can see them being very, very, very close to each other in terms of definition, but there are differences in there, both in the wisdom family of archetypes. If I'm not correct, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it is, because the guide, although the guide could also be in the divine family, but I digress, like I said about being nonlinear. Professor Tangent. Professor Tangent. Woo woo. Oh my gods, my Athena, please. We had a lovely chat today. I love you so much. She really is like a big sister to me. Always kind. I mean, she could rip anybody apart with her words alone, but she's always kind to me. I love her so much. Maybe that's the seed of Aquarius, right? Friendly. Almost like a mentor. So, my goddess, please, one card of clarity, a piece of your godly guidance and grace, and the well-being of all for this Aquarian Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars, and Venus sign in their sex life, dealing with this athlete archetype. For September 2019, please, a clue, a tip, a hint, a piece of your goddessly guidance and grace. Hanged Man reversal, right? So seeing things differently, things turned on their head, or maybe you are turned on your head, and you are really being asked to look at things differently, to surrender. Now, there's that part of that surrender, to let go and let God, let go and let God, as receive all energies that I have created, release them to the will of the greater power of love, seeing everything becoming fully balanced in its own time and place, accepting that there is a greater good manifesting in my life in the now. I learned that as a teenager. Yeah, some things I don't forget, right? Where the fuck my cell phone was, right? So there's something definitely in there about sacrificing a point of view. But let me get this last one out. Surrender, very much, yes, like I said before, thank you, Athena, very much the Heracles story, the 12 labors of Heracles, which is the Greek name of Hercules. All of his 12 labors, in one way or another, he either had to bow, bend, or kneel, right? So it's that thing about surrender. Surrender to what? To the divine plan, not necessarily to another person. Surrender to what is in the moment. What I mean, like, it's okay, this is where we are, this is what we're dealing with. Let's not fight it too much, but now let me look at this differently. Right? Very Herculean, I guess you'd say, Heraclean. Oh, I like that better. So, my masters, please. Kitty cats. My masters, please. One card of clarity, a piece of your masterful guidance and grace for this Aquarian collective. Hey, Milky. Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars, and Venus sign, sex life, dealing with this athlete archetype. For September 2019, please, a clue, a tip, a hint. Well, beauty. So there is something beautiful here. Now, that could be physical beauty, that could be emotional beauty, mental beauty, spiritual beauty, you know, all of the different levels. It just feels like a beautiful thing. And like I said, when I shuffled, it wasn't necessarily a house on fire. If I said that, it felt nice. It felt nice. So let me, before I plug all these components together, let me read these two. We will start with the mentor archetype. This would represent you. But by the way, if things flip over and you find yourself being more the athlete after hearing these, but just don't do it intellectually. Really tune into your energy field as you contemplate, or at least take in what I'm saying here. The mentor, the light attribute. Passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. Now, it's funny, passing on wisdom with Athena, right? Just saying, goddess of wisdom. Yes, a goddess of combat, but she never really got her hands dirty. Her weapon was a spear, right? So a projectile, long-distance thing. The shadow attribute, inability to allow the student to arrive to become the master. All right, it's just that the writing on this is, they're all in different colors. It's just hard to see. Inability to allow the student to move on to the role of master. All right, so inability to. It's like inability to. That's a real lead. That's a real shadow side. Like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not ready. I can't do it, right? imparting false instructions, right? Like, I mean, I'm a teacher. I'm not really a mentor. I don't really necessarily take people under my wing. I have private students, but that's a teacher-student vibration there. For a mentor, this might be even something unconscious that you may not realize you're mentoring this person, but in the shadow, it's like if somebody, no, I'm not like this. I've taught people, well, all sorts of different things, but like when I cook, like my recipes, they were handed down to me. So they're a little sacred. I have to know you. I have to trust you. But then again, everyone in my family does variations on that theme. So the shadow side of that would be saying, oh yeah, put some ragu in there, which my ancestors would haunt me and rip all my hair out in my sleep. They're like, no, we wouldn't. But nothing wrong with jarred sauce if that's what you're doing. But I haven't bought a jar of that stuff in a really, really long time because I know how to make my own. Right? Athlete. By the way, they're saying the light side of the mentor would say, no, this is how I do it step by step. And here, let me show you. And you can do this. You can do this. You know, there's more of you can do this with the mentor than with the teacher. The athlete, right? Oof. Light attribute. Dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps, right? So even somebody who's handicapped, regardless of the form of it, right? It could even be mental or emotional handicap, that they're dedicated to transcending those limits, and certainly that can make sense in a relationship. Development of personal willpower and strength of spirit. So do you see the connection where the mentor and the athlete, there's like there's a natural, connection there. Anyway, a lot of athletes have mentors, which tend to be coaches, right? Even if they're not for the whole team, they focus one-on-one on a particular, but that we know is very, very toxic once it becomes sexual. So I mean, that may be in the collective. I'm not feeling that. There's something beautiful here. But no, really, let's keep this as honorable as we can. The shadow attribute, misuse of athletic ability for selfish ends, false sense of invulnerability, and entitlement, deadly sin of the solar plexus healed by the grace of understanding. Go read Carolyn Mace's Defy Gravity, or my book, my ebook on my website, DrawingTheCircle.com, Words of Grace from a Professional Witch. I talk. That book saved my life while my life was being destroyed last year. Here I am, renewed with purple hair. Oh. Okay, athlete. That's probably not me. Although I am an athletic artist in the sense that my art, I'm very athletic about even doing this. So you put those two together, the mentor and the athlete. I think we feel that one pretty clearly. But with this divine guidance, if the mentor is not open to really receiving the divine guidance by changing the way they look at things voluntarily, sacrificing their point of view temporarily to look at it perhaps from the athlete's point of view, then that divine guidance, and how do you know it's divine guidance, right? If you just go intellectually, good luck. It's about a soul resonance. It's so Death Eater. It's Soul Eater, right? Soul Eater. It's such a resonance. It's a thing that's not just mental or emotional. It's a movement of the spirit. It's the movement of the divine. Within you, divine guidance, where it may completely be contrary to what you do every single day or what you would always choose. This is why we often have to reset our boundaries and what we will do and what we won't do as we grow and evolve, because we may have a boundary up that's about fear. I feel like that's part of this probably on both sides, right? Well, I want to, but I can't, but I shouldn't. And then you grow to a certain point in your life, and then a gate can open there. Doesn't mean you have to keep the gate bolted open or bolted shut, right? That there are choices and decisions here. So, and I'm even feeling for this athlete, if they're in their shadow, you really have the opportunity to be in some way sexually friendly, right? With clear boundaries, so that their sense of invulnerability, they could be what? Vulnerable, right? Which, sex without vulnerability is fine if it's like let's say short-term quickie. I was just in Cherry Grove last night. I had a wonderful time with my reincarnational son, though we are not sexually involved. He's a sweetheart, came in as a friend, and so he had a place over there. Invited me over for my birthday. My birthday is on Friday. I'm going to Brooklyn, so this is why I'm getting these readings out. But, it's a little too easy to hook up in Cherry Grove, right? It's like I've walked through the meat rack once, like 30 years ago, and it was just to get to the Pines. I'm a Virgo. What would Hera say? Heresy is what she would say. So let's not forget this thing of beauty here. Now, whether this is physical beauty, the attraction may be strong, but maybe you need to look differently. You know, depending on what you're getting in terms of this athlete's lead and gold, right? Their light and their shadow. And by the way, if you're going to try and find somebody without any shadow, good luck. You got shadow. We all do, right? Still in a body, still working, still figuring it out. So the beauty here that this can be also seeing things differently to reveal a hidden beauty, regardless of what's going on. And they're saying really clearly, yeah, it's like the divine guidance, look differently. And you'll see. You will experience probably more accurately. I have that upside down. Look at her face in the water compared. See what I mean? There's something really beautiful and lovely going on here. But will you, one or both of you, see it differently, surrender your point of view, clear your eyes, right? Change your perspective, and accept that there is something beautiful going on here. And I will say, you might want to pop these sex reads for September, really any of my monthly reads. I'm doing them by the month. I'm not ready to do them week by week. It's too much for me at the mo. But you might want to put them in your watch later, because if you're watching this right now, oh, it's the 4th, tomorrow's the 5th, my birthday's the 6th. You know, we're getting this in the first week. That later in the month, you might be like, oh my God, that happened, right? So just you might want to, and then you can absolutely just like hit the forward arrow and just get to the points that you know that resonate for you. Cool. So good luck to you, my Aquarians, my Aquas, my water bearers. You're dear friends. You really are. You're wonderful friends. You guys do the friendly stuff really, really well. Fixed air, the stratosphere. You can really hold perspective, and I can see as a mentor how genius you would be. Oh, I totally thought I had the volume turned down. See what happens when you go to Cherry Grove and drink Pinot Grigio and strawberry daiquiris. Watching Hedda Lettuce at Cherries on the Bay. She was amazing last night, right? Yeah, so anyway, digression. Professor Tangent. I wish you the very best sex life. You know, I just think if everybody on Earth had a happy, healthy, magnificent sex life, we would be so much more relaxed. This world would be more humanitarian because we wouldn't be carrying around all that excess tension of the past. Not, well, and therein lies, if it's not done the right way, the core to sex addiction, right? You're using it to medicate where, you know, look at Tantra, look at yoga, look at Western sex magic. There's all sorts of ways that spiritual sexual energy can be integrated and evolved. And by the way, if I find that there's enough people interested in these sex reads, I will do larger restricted reads about spiritual sexuality and sexual, you know, tantras and all that stuff, and see how that goes, because that's my forte. Shocked? Don't be. Cool. Have a lovely month of September, my Aquarians. But for now, hail, farewell, and blessed be.